Hello, this is Stephen O, and yes, we're back with another Batman 66 episode review. Today, we'll be reviewing the episode, It's How You Played the Game, the part 2 in Shame's very first appearance. So without further ado, let's get into the review. We last left Batman and Robin tied down and are about to be stampeded by a herd of cattle heading towards them. However, Batman manages to get out of this death trap by using the vibrations of the stampeding cattle to cause one of the stakes that are holding him down to shake loose from the ground. He leaps up and then takes off his cape and uses it Matador style to guide the stampedes away from himself and Robin. Now that is honestly one of my favorite scenes in Batman ever, and it's really, really fun. There's a scene where they run into Andy, and it's really fun when they talk about with Andy. It's okay, really. The Cape Crusader and Robin then go to Hot Rod Harry and, ask for more details of who will know more about cars. He then leads them to a car salesman named Laughing Leo, who, when they arrive, they try to ask him about if they would know about Shame. I don't get where this is really meant to lead the plot, but I guess so. This leads them to nowhere. However, they then find out that Laughing Leo is actually in with Shame and his gang, and he reveals to Shame about Batman and Robin is still alive, but we also find out about Shame's caper. He plans to steal a herd of cattle and sell them to some ranchers ranchers for a big payday. However, when Shame finds out Batman and Robin are still alive, let's just say he loses it. With that, we then cut to Batman and Robin back at the Batcave, and thanks to Alfred, who's taken apart the limousine that they found to hope to find some clues, and they find a bit of avocado, realizing that Shame must have eaten it, and they use that to track to a restaurant. They then find it has been abandoned. They realize they used their Batlogic brainpower to figure out where Shame would go. They realize that he would have gone back to his hideout in Westernland, even though they know about it, but he would think they wouldn't know about it, so it'd be a most likely place to hide. They're realizing that, they then go there, and when they arrive there, they get into a heated gun battle, which results in Robin getting shot in the foot. Shame and his gang make their escape. Batman manages to save Robin and take him back to the Batcave and heal him of his injury. Just as that, they realize that they still don't know what Shame is after. Just as that happened, Alfred comes in and reminds Batman of his duties as Bruce Wayne to attend the Gotham City Rodeo, which he reveals about the Black Angus cattle bulls, which are worth $300,000 each on display. Realizing that's what Shame is after, that they make their way to the rodeo, but Shame is already there with his gang and has already kidnapped the cattle. Batman arrived there too late and tried to figure out where Shame would hide that cattle. Robin comes up with the answer that he would be hiding it at the KO Corral, clearly a reference to the famous OK Corral gunfight in Tombstone with Wyatt Earp. They then make their way to the KO Corral, and we get what is a staple of a Mexican standoff at high noon. Shame has already planned this and plans to pretty much use numbers to his advantage and pretty much outgun Batman, pretty much gun him down in cold blood. What ends up happening, Batman uses some smoke pellets, which he then uses to hide from the Blazing Gunfight. When the smoke clears, Batman and Robin take on the entire gang, so we have a fist fight at the KO Corral. Shame and his gang of desperados are all taken down. It's a really fun and very entertaining fight scene, I must admit. And what I especially like is when Shame is the last man standing, he still doesn't plan to go down without a fight. He secretly gets a minigun he's hidden in his hat and plans to shoot Batman, but it misses and ends up shooting Chief O'Hara's hat, as those two just happen to walk by. And as a result, Shame and his gang are apprehended. We then end the episode with Shame and his men about to be sent to prison, what seems to be for a mighty long prison term. Just as that's happening, the little boy comes in and asks for Shame to give him back his radio, which he does. And we end the episode with it says the kid saying he no longer wants to be a rodeo man, but wants to be a lawman. And Shame goes, "Good grief." I get a bit of laugh out of that. We then end the episode there with next week's villain being the Penguin. the main cast here doesn't really change. I like how Alfred at pretty much the end here, it really does help a lot with uncovering Shame and his caper, which I really like. And Batman and Robin here are really great as always. Adam West and Burt will really, really breathe life into the character. And I'll admit, Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara really provide some of the comedic elements of this episode, which I really like. And honestly, they had me in stitches, especially when Shane fired his gun and ended up shooting Chief O'Hara's hat. I absolutely got a huge laugh out of that. But of course, let's talk about Shane himself. Shame is phenomenal here. I'm really falling in love with his character, and I'm really introduced to more things that I really like, such as when he found out Batman and Robin were really still alive, how he threw a tantrum, which is I say scarier than the bookworms, because he actually gets out his gun and starts shooting randomly, which I think is the first time a villain on the show has ever done that, and it's legit how he threw his top. His personality-wise from the previous episode is still present here, but I like it all the same. Another thing I also want to admit I like about the character is when he realized Batman were coming, first off it was silly with the whole conversation, which I actually got a huge crack out of. But then of course, because it was a gunfight at the OK Corral, I like how this character doesn't play fair. He uses numbers to his advantage and relies heavily on the gun. And it's shown even when he's about to be arrested, there's that one little gun hidden in his hat. These are elements that would still pass over to the next Season 3 appearances, but also expand on them a little bit. Cliff Robertson was the perfect actor to play this character, though I will admit, in the end, his scheme was cattle rustling. Not that glamorous, and I think that automobile thing kind of went nowhere. But despite that, it made sense for a Western-themed villain to have a caper more en route with a Western outlaw from those old movies and TV shows. You see, Shame is a product of the Westerns that were very huge and popular in movies and TVs in the 50s and very early 60s, so it made a whole lot of sense they would have a character like that for this show. Here we have a famous window cameo. Here we have a cameo by... the window cameo here is Werner Clepper, cameos as his character Colonel Klink from the TV show Hogan's Heroes, which was huge at the time. I like how, again, we get to get famous characters from TV shows pop up in these window cameos, which I've always found to be entertainable and very enjoyable. And I like how he's in so character here, and for me, I personally get an absolute laugh out of his appearance. Dad had to point this out for me who he was, because I never heard of him, and I really love every moment of it. Now, Andy here is, for me, not a really good character. Again, his whole purpose here was to be a spoof of the Western movie Shane, and the child actor here is not very good. Though granted, he is just a child, so I can't really blame it for that fact. I just wish they could have gone some with it a little bit differently, but other than that, I really don't mind it, but he does occasionally make me roll my eyes. And it's how you play the game. A really good, solid episode. Honestly, the Shame 2-parter for me is a really good episode. I also feel that it kind of lacks in some areas. I don't know why. But I really get more enjoyment out of this pair of episodes than the Marsha Queen of Diamonds episodes. Maybe the flaw I could really point out here is build a car, but then it doesn't go anywhere. That's my really only complaint with this episode. The Shame 2-part for me are some of my favorites of Season 2. And there we have it. It's how you played the game. So far, really enjoyable episode, and really get introduced to one of my favorite villains in the series, Shame. But this won't be the last time we'll see him. He'll come back for another 2-parter in Season 3, but that's still a long way away. Join us next time when Batman and Robin goes up against the Black Bird himself, the Penguin. So he'll be back. Stick around for then. Until then, this has been the Steven Hour. Tune in next time for in the same Steven channel. Ladies and gentlemen, so long for now.